people across the world are looking to rejuvenate their health and their lives. Dr. Batra will talk to us about the changes he has noticed post the pandemic and how modern homeopathy can play a part in helping people to feel their best. Dr. Batra, thank you so much for joining us today. And like I said, you're the name who's synonymous really with homeopathy for most of us. I'm keen to know, though, post the pandemic, have you seen actually any changes in people's attitudes towards homeopathy?
So thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to talk to you and to converse with you. Thank you for this opportunity as well. I'm most
Absolutely,
grateful.
our pleasure.
And thank you for your question as well. I think post pandemic, yes, there has been a lot of change, not just in homeopathy but also in healthcare. So let me first get to the few lessons that we learned post COVID. One of them, of course, was that no man is an island entire by himself or herself, and therefore something that if there's a sneeze happening in Wuhan, it can affect the rest of the world. The rest of the world can catch a cold. So that's really what's happened, and we've experienced that. So we understand that nobody is safe until everybody is safe. And therefore this whole concept of community health, and therefore the awareness of not just I being healthy, but making sure that my colleagues are also healthy, that my community is also healthy, is something which has come across post-COVID in a much stronger way compared to earlier. The second thing is that the second buzzword really during COVID was immunity. So everybody wants to now talk about immunity building. Now, whether it was through adrak and through haldi or through home remedies, or whether it was through some homeopathic medicine, like a immunity tablet that we have, or whether it was through any other form of alternative medicine or even natural medicine, there's a big demand for immunity. But the learning over here really is that immunity is something which is built over a period of time. It's not something that we build right now. So it's really something with the way of life. And that's also the other learning from COVID which people have had, that people want to go for safer alternatives, because even people, all kinds of treatments that happened during COVID, especially in the first, I would say 1.5 years, was all experimental. So, you heard that such drug is absolutely fabulous, and you saw the president of a country taking it, and then you realize that, 2 months later, you realize there were so many side effects. So people have now realized that a lot of these chemical medicines have a lot of side effects, and therefore they're trying to move into safer zones of medication. And homeopathy is one of them. So people are now looking for natural medication, they're looking for safe medication, and they're looking at things which can naturally build immunity over a period of time. Also, this awareness about NCDs, that's the third part, is so much, which is non-communicable disorders. So lifestyle disorders today have come to the fore, because we found that people who did not have diabetes perhaps survived COVID, but people who had diabetes, had high blood pressure, and had all these NCDs, they succumbed to disease, and we actually lost them. So that was another learning. Therefore, to keep our body healthy, to keep ourselves healthy, and to keep fit, throughout the year, is a lesson that we've learned. Unfortunately, the hard way, because all of us have experienced some sense of loss during the last few years of COVID. And emotional health has also taken its toll. Absolutely. So the fourth point that I want to bring across to you very strongly is that homeopathy, being mind and body medicine and being holistic medicine, is therefore viewed much more favorably post-COVID, because it's not isolated. We now understood that if you're depressed or anxious, or you have a sense of loss, then obviously your immunity will also go down. And when your immunity goes down, then you're more prone to getting regular attacks or falling sick easily. So I think these are all the lessons that we learned. And yes, in some way, it has helped homeopathy, because it's the first time also that the government of India actually used homeopathy in a large scale as a preventive medicine. They recommended arsenic alb as one of the medicines to be used as a preventive, and many states used it very effectively. So yes, that really helped a lot. So people are looking to safer alternatives, and also people are looking for how can we change our lifestyle, improve lifestyle diseases, and therefore homeopathy is one of them, one system of medicine which kind of fits the bill.
Absolutely. Point well taken. But, doctor, I'm keen to ask, especially nowadays, on various WhatsApp groups, I see a lot of people suffering with allergies, suffering with asthma that suddenly come on, and that actually doesn't have much to do with self-regulation. It's also to do with the kind of pollution that surrounds us, the kind of issues which are really out of individual control, so to speak. And a lot of people are turning to homeopathy for, for relief from those kind of issues. What advice do you have and I've seen a lot of children actually suffering with this, and parents, really at their wits end, because they don't want their children to keep being on, on various medications constantly through the year. What advice would you have on this front?
One thing is move to Mars. I mean, if you could, that's not so easy.
Yeah.
So jokes apart, I think we all live in an environment which is polluted, and unfortunately, we are still a developing country. And because we live in a developing country, there's always some kind of road work going on. They're breaking, re-breaking, rebuilding, building again, rebuilding again. And I mean, in Mumbai, for example, where I live, there's a metro work going on for the last few years, and it still doesn't seem to end. It's going to take another couple of years. So every road is dug up. So, there's always a pollution problem everywhere. Wherever you live, there's an inverted atmosphere in Delhi. The AQIs are so poor in most of the metros. So I think there's a problem that we'll have to live with. Now, having said that, how do you deal with it? Now, again, as far as homeopathy is concerned, it's a very, very simple philosophy. There are two sides to the coin. One is high sensitivity, and the other is lowered immunity. Now, when you are very sensitive, not emotionally and physically, okay, and when your immunity is low, then you fall sick. So when this happens and you're in an atmosphere which is not right, not conducive, you will then get asthma. You'll then get allergic rhinitis. But if your immunity is high and your sensitivity is low, which is what homeopathy does over a period of time, then even in the same atmosphere, you will not get affected. So it's as simple. So if you understand that very easily, just think of this. You enter a room and there are 10 people, out of which 2 people have a cold. Then maybe 1 or 2 of them will get a cold, but the other 7 or 8 don't get a cold. Now, why does that happen? Because their immunity is still high. But anybody whose immunity is low will fall sick. So the answer really is to build immunity, and immunity is not built, of course, against a specific allergen, but also generally. So you need to build your immunity generally. And you can only build general immunity over a period of time by taking proper constitutional treatment. Absolutely. That means it's your personality, is the way you live, is the lifestyle that you lead, the regularity with which you eat, what you eat, whether you exercise or not, and what kind of homeopathic medicine that you take. I mean, all of that together builds up your immunity and Absolutely. Then makes you strong so that the environment around you, you don't fall sick.
Yeah, so that it's I mean, essentially there are no shortcuts to good health. Like you're saying, it is all about discipline, and of course getting the required assistance that you need to kind of take that to the next level. And you were talking about all of us living in metros, but I think Dr. Batra has also been getting a lot of traction from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So can you tell us what kind of interest you've seen from this area for for what you're offering, the solutions that you're offering?
Well, more or less, I think that I mean, disease is agnostic to religion, to race, to cities, is universal actually, unfortunately. And mostly almost everybody is, while you have the economic and the social rural-urban divide, but in healthcare, it's hardly there. I'm saying the same problem that you have in a metro, you also get in a mini metro, you also get today in the villages as well, because development is happening everywhere. There's dust everywhere. There's a different kind of allergen, but it's still there. A pollutant is always there. It just differs. There it may be a grain, here it may be dust. That's the difference. But the fact is still there. So I think, and people are not necessarily, so what's really happening is that people are living longer, but they're not necessarily living healthier.
Absolutely.
And that's what is, so there were a lot of these, people are living, older, and therefore lots of old age problems are coming up. Number one. Number two, everybody is now becoming inspirational. And therefore, even in tier 2, tier 3 cities, because people are living longer, therefore they're suffering from arthritis, they're suffering from heart problems, they're suffering from high blood pressure as well. And also because they're inspirational, they're also going for a lot of aesthetic treatments. And they all want to look good, feel good, and they all want to say that I should be like that girl next door, or like the boy next door, or like the guy on the screen, I should also have a 6-pack. And so there's a lot of movement in tier 2, tier 3 cities for looking better. And therefore a lot of treatment for acne, for example, which earlier maybe young girls would just take it as a normal course of growing up. Today they're very conscious about it. Lots of hair falling that happens. They don't want to lose hair at all. They want to make sure that they really have a well-groomed hair all the way through. So things like, hair loss, skin problems, allergies, as you said, asthmas, allergic rhinitis, sneezing, and in older people, isolation, anxiety, depression, arthritis. These are some of the problems that we face also in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. And I'm happy to say that because of the model that we have in almost every city in India, we have more than 150 cities in India which we have covered with Dr. Batra's clinics. Any city which has more than 3 lakh population, you'll find a Dr. Batra's clinic over there. And we've also now developed a kind of an e-consult model, which is like a virtual clinic model, which we've just launched for UK, and we hope to extend it also to the villages of India. So ultimately, we'll also have reached to a lot more people pan India with a kind of e-consult model rather than just a physical personal model, which we still have in about 150 cities in India. But
Absolutely.
I don't find that there's too much of a difference in terms of diseases. Like I said, disease is agnostic. It just
And also the aspirations are agnostic, I
yeah.
think, in today's
I mean,
world. I think
getting more and more because
yeah.
you mentioned that you were in the media earlier, as was my niece, and you know that media is one reason for making people aspirational, because today everybody has a television set. Now everybody has a mobile phone, and they get data on it, which is very cheap still in India. And therefore, all the time you find everybody is just looking at their own data. They're watching something or the other, and what are they watching? They're watching glamour. I mean, that the most watched is either Bollywood or sports, cricket really, out of all the other sports. So, I mean, these are all glamour people. Everything is glamorous. And so this is the kind of message that goes even to the villages, that, you got to look good to kind of feel good. And, then also you got to be really presentable and, well turned out and well groomed. So I think media has a lot to play and a role to play in this, very strong role, because then it makes everybody aspirational. It says, oh, this is the lifestyle of the rich and famous. Why can't I have it?
Yeah, well, let's hope those aspirations don't come with too much pressure, because ultimately everyone should look and feel their own best, not what they think they should look like, which I think is
absolutely
very important.
Add to that the 2-minute Maggi noodles, and add to that the Insta pressure of looking good on Instagram, and making sure that the entire presentation is within 1 minute, and yet it makes an impact. So I think we are living in a competitive world. And I think unless we learn how to just compete with ourselves and not with others, we are in for trouble.
Yes. And Dr. Batra, that brings me to you as an individual. You've been doing this, like you said, for almost 50 years now. And to do something for so long obviously requires a lot of perseverance. It requires a lot of skill. It requires a lot of positivity. What are your secrets personally, as a businessman, as an individual, on keeping that going for such an extended period of time? I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. So what's your secrets on that front?
My God, no, that would be a bestseller.
You can give us the trailer to the movie, or the forward to the book, whatever it is.
I've already written a book, and it's all there in my
biography. Yes, I know.
The nation's homeopath, and that's been now converted into a play as well by a large theatre group in Mumbai. It was one of the opening plays for Prithvi Theatre last week. So yes, that's already happened, but I'm very happy to share. So I think I divide that question into 2 parts. The first part is what is required for an entrepreneur to actually excel or to keep pushing the boundaries. The first thing I would say is 2 P's: passion and purpose. And once passion meets purpose, then life becomes meaningful. So passion is the drive. Is the drive to do something extraordinary, work hard, get there, aim for the skies, but keep your feet on the ground. कदम चूम लेती है मंजिल ही आकर, कदम चूम लेती है मंजिल ही आकर, अगर राही खुद अपनी हिम्मत ना हारे. So perseverance is the key to success. So like they said, lage raho munna bhai. Just be at it, persevere, don't give up, and you will get there. Now, this is one part. This is the passion part. Now, if you are able to marry passion with purpose, if there's a reason to believe, reason to live, which is what I've done in my life. I'm saying the kind of this thing for my company is that we create wealth so that we can share wealth. So that the more wealth we create, the more we can share, because a percentage of our profits goes into charity. It goes into all the NGOs and all the kind of work that we do, including my own personal hobbies. And that's my answer to the second question. My answer to the second question is that you have to make life interesting. And to make life interesting, you have to reinvent yourself all the time. So I keep reinventing myself through every phase of my life. I started as a struggling doctor. I then went on to become a successful doctor, practicing doctor, seeing 300 patients in a day. I then started a company, and then I became a struggling entrepreneur come manager, because I would manage my companies on my own. I was also the spot boy, as you call in your language, and I was also the ward boy, as you call in the medical language, and it's also the peon, as you call anywhere else in a corporate. And I was also the chairman of the company. So everything was done, starting from that up, and then I created a corporate. So I reinvented myself again as an entrepreneur, and then kind of delegated work, and then professionalized my company to have professional management. So I then moved from there to just being an owner and letting the company run professionally with a group of almost 400 doctors and professional CEO who manages the group, plus individual CEOs who manage every vertical separately. So I think that was also a challenge. And so you keep evolving yourself. You keep, I started a foundation when I turned 50. So part of my effort and time goes into that. I learned how to sing 15 years ago. So then I have stage shows every year. I just finished one last week where I sing old songs for an old widow's home to collect funds. I do photography. I've had 51 photo exhibitions already across the world. The government of Dubai is hosting my photo exhibition in Dubai in May. I was invited by the Western Australian government to shoot for them. So I am kind of a semi-professional photographer, even though I do that for charity. So if there's a purpose, and I keep learning something new. Many years ago I learned yoga, then I learned how to swim, then I had 2 left feet. I could sing, but I couldn't dance. And then last year I took dancing classes and I learned how to dance. So I'm saying life goes on. So I think you have to keep reinventing yourself. What is important is that you got to start reinventing yourself, keep the interest alive. Then life is always very interesting. This is why in corporates also they do these role plays. They keep changing roles. They keep changing job profiles every now and then to keep you interested. So I think and again, like I said, it's always passion and it's purpose. If you have a passion, you love going every day to office, you're not going to work. You're going to have fun. You're going to enjoy yourself because you want to reach out to more people. You want to help more people. There's a vision behind it. There's a purpose behind it. And that's something that you're not actually sharing something with other people, but you're giving joy to yourself. So when you're giving off yourself, you're actually making yourself happy. And when you have that kind of thing of life, you're always happy and you're always contented. And then, you enjoy life every day, every moment of it.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Batra, thank you for joining us, and thank you so much for sharing your passion, your purpose, and with dancing and singing and charitable work and photography and painting, all of it mixed in. Truly a holistic individual to talk to us about taking care of ourselves also holistically. So thank you so very much for joining us today. Thank you.